Welcome back, everybody. We're tuning again today. So hazy 80 plus day, Thursday, and it's just really muggy, but we're making headways on a couple of the projects that we had. So Nava's car, we looked at the tune. He's been complaining about, feels weird when he's trying to drive it and this, that. So we found that he had a stock 4-bar, but his tune was for 7-bar. I guess he bought the car, it had different settings in it before. The person never really converted everything over to the settings that he gave him the car with. And he had like weird eBay injectors. We got that taken care of. We're still working on it. He's running on, what is it, G4 Link. Subaru's gotten some of his break-in miles. We're just gonna add an air-water separator, and then Johnny's gonna pick it up and do the 500-600 miles. Scott's car, everything is done. We are basically having we switched over to E85. I'm tuning that on the street, but we're having an issue where now the turbo doesn't want to boost properly. I mean, I put him on like 55% wastegate duty cycle. At the same wastegate before, he was making like 35, 38 psi. Now he's making 28. So we got to check that out. I'm pretty sure we double check and triple check the boost leak. There wasn't any. So I had a feeling it might be the turbo itself. This is a precision. This would be like the 8th precision this year that is going back for a rebuild. Part of the reason why I don't recommend it, but if you have it, we got you. We are tuning Terry's car today. Very interesting. Terry and Curtis from the same shop, but he has a longer history. But this car is beautiful. This is amazing. And really, like, I'm not a big fan of the blue Evos, but this is growing on me. So let me see if I can get the history right, because it is a little confusing. He had this motor built. It's a 2.4 liter and S2 cams built, sleeved, manley rods and all that stuff. It has a borgwarner 9174, which flows like 95 pounds on their website, similar to like 64, 66. Twin squirrel T4. But he had issues where it spun a bearing. It got rebuilt by another shop. They tuned it. I guess they had issues. Then he brought it here in Illinois to another shop that's very famous, or I should say infamous, in the Facebook groups. And something like weird stuff. He had all these things, like he had a 3.5-inch intake, but this is the intake that shop told him to get, and I couldn't figure out why. Let me just show you a comparison next to each other. Look at that. Like, how are you gonna run a turbo that size? This is a 3-inch and to a 4-inch, so this is a 3.5-inch. How are you gonna run a turbo like that and then like go with the 3-inch intake? But either way, and I also told him that you're gonna need Omni 4-bar. He's like, I have an Omni 4-bar, but this person told me that like not to go with that or whatever, something like that. But the car wasn't running right. Things were going wrong, and he had a slew of complaints. I opened the ROM and I realized why. It turns out this is a 2011. The 2011, I guess the XML file does not have provisions for certain things, and Omni 4-bar is one of them, and this tuner didn't know how to get the tables and codes and add it to the XML. That's probably the main reason why he didn't want to go with an Omni 4-bar. But either way, he has 1700 ID, dual pumps, the works. So this car should make good power. Couple of things on the 2.4. It is really good for street driving, and I would say under like 750, 800 horses if you're not trying to go crazy on it. But for racing, you do not want a 2.4. If you're going to go with a bigger displacement, get a 2.2 stroker. I very much so dislike the big bore, not just on this platform, on any platform. Because we tune a lot of different platforms, not just Evos here, and I personally own a whole bunch of cars. And this is a common problem with all platforms where when you increase the cylinder bore, it has problem sealing. So that's my number one concern with the 2.4, which is a 2.2 stroker and a big bore. This is like a 90 millimeter, and there's no real support for head gaskets aftermarket. The 90 millimeter, only like a few company makes it. So either way, this is not something I would recommend for my client. I would say go with the 2.2 stroker or go with the 2.0, but it is what it is. He's here. Yeah, we were gonna see what it does. He also has this fuel pressure regulator that I don't like. I don't know what's going on with Radium, but their fuel pressure regulator is failing on us. It happened a few times. So, I would suggest that he changes that in the future. But, all right, let's do a flex fuel and see what happens.
So this is roughly 27 pounds of boost. It was a little issue up top when I hit the rev limiter, and our coil pickup wasn't on properly, and it started slipping. So I had to put it on speed, and it didn't really pick up the torque. But this is 93, 27 pounds, almost no timing, and this is our base.
Alright, so E85, this is an 88%. We basically mixed X98 to get the percentages high. First run, see how it goes.
So that was terrible. Same everything as the 93.2, and the only difference is the scaling, and I think I need to add more fuel because it's the E85 is very high percentage. Typically I see 75 to 78, maybe at 72, but this is at 88, 90%. So I'm gonna just add fuel later in the next run and see what happens. this is the same run. I mean, no other changes other than, you know, injector scaling for the E85 content, and the car feels dramatically different. Before I ran low 12s, like around 12.2, 12.1 AFR, and his car definitely likes much richer fuel mixture. And every setup is different, so you can't just go with it. And that's the best part of having a dyno. You can actually see in its reliable data than having to use a VD dyno, which works, but it's as good as, you know, the run of the data, the road, and a whole bunch of factors that I personally feel isn't that reliable. On this run, the wastegate, duty cycle, everything remained the same, with the same setup as before, just added more fuel. Before he was running, you know, like 11.8, 12 on the last run. Right now on this run, he ran like 11.5, and then it went up to 11.8 towards the end, which dramatically changed the way the boost came on. The motor liked it. It's more efficient in this fueling. And he actually picked up 3 more psi on the same boost wastegate. So he ran 30 psi on this, same timing, same everything else, and that goes to show you, you know, I wouldn't be able to do this easily if I was running on VD dyno, if I didn't have access to a dyno jet. Now, I'm not saying VD dyno doesn't work. I definitely do a lot of e-tunes. I do use them, and I have to use a different technique when I'm e-tuning to get the proper fueling that your engine likes. And not every car is the same. Some may like, you know, 11.1, and others would love 12.1, and that varies. And the technique that I use is I basically always measure base noise of the engine, and the noise seems to go down in the run area, during the wide open throttle area, as you make the motor more efficient and or give it more of what it likes. And but definitely makes it easier on the dyno jet, or having an access to a dyno. On the next run, I'm going to add more boost and a bit of timing. This is at 32 pounds, and I'm maxing it out at, like, I think 15 degrees of timing up top. This thing just wants to make power. Unfortunately, the builder told him, you know, it's just to be safe, just keep it around 700, and that's what we're doing. As you can see, the torque on this thing is just crazy. If we were to max this turbo, which is 800 plus, I'm pretty sure we would be hitting close to 700 in torque, given that it's a bigger motor. And it feels great. I'm pedaling the hell out of this car, but it just is on. As soon as you know, press the gas, it's just on, like the turbo spooling. But all in all, this turned out great. And if you rewind and look at the other runs, you can see the exhaust fumes that are coming out. The coloration of it is changing as I'm making changes to the fuel.
Day and a half.
All right, so you know, we were told 700. This is what we got. Everything seems perfect. Producing a lot of fucking torque. You know, there's a couple of things as I worried about before. This is a big bore. We didn't really rev it out like that. It was like to 8, 7, 9, something like that. It turned out pretty okay. This is exactly what he wanted. The car's driving, everything is good, except for the front O2, which, you know, we know it's a $400 expense, but trust me, guys, it's well worth, especially if you're gonna daily the fucking car. But you know, Terry, another good, very positive outcome on this. He's been hurt You know, like the Statue of Liberty, what is that quote? Give us your weary, give us your tired. We ended up being like that because people go to all these different places where, you know, they're not treated right, they don't pay attention. Not that I'm not saying that the people don't have the skill level. Obviously they do, because they produce some good work, but certain clients get ignored, or I don't know what the reason is. But, you know, I'm very glad that Terry, we were able to help him, just like his friend Curtis. And I hope there's no tranny issues, but he's producing a shitload of torque. I'm pretty sure this turbo is capable of 800 plus. It's flowing like 90 to 95 pounds, I think, on their website, which is comparable to like 64, 66, maybe a little larger. But at that horsepower, he's going to be hitting 600 plus torque. That's, on a street car, you're going to break stuff. But again, this came out pretty good. We're going to be in touch with Terry, just like we are with all our clients. Anything happens, that we're there for them. Even if they bring it here or don't bring it here, it doesn't matter. But thank you guys for tuning in. All of our team wishes you a happy, you know, tuning. We realize we need some positivity in this community. There's a lot of shit talking and all this bullshit. Well, we're here. Reach out to us if you need any help. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Until next time, be kind.
So I had to jump on another car that needed to be tuned. So I'm letting Carl test drive it, since he was working on this car anyway. He knows what to expect. And Carl has never driven a 2.4 liter before. You know, he's done a lot of 2.2s and whatnot. But 2.4 liter with this turbo size, I just want to see his expression on his face. He drives an Evo as well, but his is a 2.0 with a large turbo. So I just want to show him what this car feels like, even though 700, like what it really feels like.
Should be good.
Try not to laugh. He's a small guy. He basically missed a gear because he fell out of his seat. Let's see that again.
Should be good.
So for street testing, we do like to do a couple of wide open throttles, make sure everything is good, check for NOx and air fuel ratio, boost and all that stuff. So now that he's expecting it, let's see what happens.
Oh shit! It's hitting. That is violent. Coming out of my fucking seat. Out of all the other cars I've drove, I never really got to hit them. Say like the 800-900 ones. Usually the customers drove those, but it's up there. It'll keep up for sure. I like it. For as smooth as it is, it's not bad. But it hits like a fucking train. Stabbed it at 3,500 and it was just right away. I'd have a personal car like this, that's for sure. Terry's gonna be real happy.